Wait, don't move past this moment just yet. Something quiet, something almost invisible, has been unfolding around you, and you may have felt it without fully understanding it. There is a woman, close to your life, closer than you realize, and she is carrying something heavy inside her world. Not just in the physical sense, but deeper, layered, unspoken. And what makes this moment different, is not what she is going through, but what she is choosing not to show. Pause for a second. Have you noticed subtle changes? A silence where there used to be warmth, a distance that feels unexplainable, eyes that smile, but only halfway? These are not coincidences. These are signals. Quiet ones. Easy to miss, unless you are truly paying attention. And here is where it begins to shift. She is hiding something, not out of deception, but out of protection. Protection of her own emotions, and strangely, protection of you. Because sometimes, when a person feels like they are losing control over something in their life, they don't run toward others, they retreat. They create a space where no one can see the weight they are carrying. But why you? Why are you being drawn into this awareness right now? Because your presence in her life is not random. You are one of the few people who can feel what others ignore. And even if you haven't consciously understood it yet, your intuition has already picked up the shift. There's something deeper happening beneath the surface. Not chaos. Not fear. A transformation. And here's the part most people overlook. When someone is going through something intense, they don't always ask for help directly. Instead, they send out quiet signals, through energy, through behavior, through subtle changes in connection. And only those who are meant to notice, will notice. You are noticing. But let me ask you something. What if this moment isn't about saving someone, but about understanding them at a level you never have before? Because what she is hiding, isn't just about struggle. It's about vulnerability. A stage in her life where she is facing something internally, something she hasn't fully accepted yet. And until she accepts it, she won't speak it. That's why everything feels slightly off, slightly incomplete, like a sentence that was never finished. Stay with this feeling a little longer. Because the truth is not loud. It doesn't announce itself. It reveals itself slowly, piece by piece, only to those who are willing to stay present long enough to see it. And something extraordinary is about to unfold. Not in a dramatic way. Not in a way that shakes everything instantly. But in a quiet, powerful realization, the kind that changes how you see a person forever. This is not the end of her story. This is the part where the hidden becomes visible, where distance turns into understanding, where silence begins to speak. But only if you don't look away. Because what you're sensing right now is only the beginning. Hold on, something just shifted again. Did you feel that quiet pull, like a thought that wasn't yours, yet somehow it stayed? Because this is where the unseen begins to take shape. The distance you've been sensing, it isn't random anymore. It has direction. It has meaning. And the woman you've been thinking about, she is not just hiding something, she is navigating a stage of her life that feels too heavy to explain in words. But here's the part that changes everything. She doesn't believe you would understand. Not because you lack depth, but because she fears what her truth might do to the connection between you. So instead of risking that shift, she carries it alone. Quietly. Carefully. As if silence is safer than being seen. And yet, there are moments, small, almost unnoticeable moments, where her guard slips. A pause in her voice. A hesitation before she answers. A look that lingers just a second too long. These are not accidents. These are cracks in the wall she built. Ask yourself this. Why would someone hide something so deeply, and still stay close to you? Think about that. Because distance would have been easier. Disappearing would have been simpler. But she didn't choose that. She stayed within your orbit, even while carrying what she hasn't revealed. That means something. It means there is a part of her that trusts you, even if she hasn't fully admitted it yet. A part that feels, maybe you are the one person who could see her without changing the way you feel. But she's not ready to test that belief. Not yet. And this is where your role becomes different from what you expected. You are not here to force answers. You are not here to uncover everything at once. You are here to create a space where truth can arrive, without fear. And that requires something rare, something most people never learn. Patience without pressure. Presence without questions. Connection without demand. Because the moment she feels safe enough, the truth will not come out as a confession, it will come out as relief. A release. A quiet moment where she finally stops holding everything inside. But here's the deeper layer most people miss. What she is going through is not just affecting her. It is shaping you too. Look at yourself closely. You've become more aware, more observant, more sensitive to what lies beneath the surface. You are learning to feel without needing immediate answers. To understand without needing proof. That's not accidental. That's evolution. And this moment, this very phase, is training you to see beyond what is shown. Stay with this just a little longer. Because something important is approaching, not as a sudden revelation, but as a slow unfolding. A moment where things that once felt confusing will start aligning, quietly, almost effortlessly. And when that moment comes, you will realize something powerful. You were never meant to chase the truth. You were meant to become the place where truth feels safe enough to appear. And if this is resonating with you, if you can feel this deeper layer opening, you already know this connection is not ordinary. Sometimes, just acknowledging that is enough. And if you choose to stay connected to this kind of awareness, you'll naturally find yourself drawn to more moments like this, where things begin to make sense in ways words can't fully explain. But don't rush ahead. Because what's about to unfold next is the part where silence finally begins to speak. Wait, before you try to understand everything, notice this one subtle change. Something inside you is calmer now, yet more alert, as if you're standing on the edge of a realization that hasn't fully revealed itself yet. This is where it all begins to come together. The silence you've been feeling from her, it's no longer just silence. It's communication, just not in the way most people expect. Because when someone carries something deep within, they don't always express it through words, they express it through presence, through absence, through energy. And you've been receiving it all along. Think about the moments when she seemed distant, but still stayed connected. When conversations felt shorter, but more meaningful. When her energy felt heavy, but her presence never completely disappeared. That's not confusion. That's contradiction, and contradiction always hides truth. But here's the turning point. She is slowly reaching a place where holding everything inside is becoming harder than letting it out. And when that shift happens, it doesn't come as a dramatic confession. It comes quietly, almost unexpectedly, like a single sentence that changes everything you thought you understood. And you might miss it, if you're not fully present. So let me ask you something deeper. What if the truth she is hiding isn't meant to shock you, but to bring you closer to a level of understanding you've never reached before? Because sometimes, what feels like distance, is actually preparation. Preparation for a moment where two people finally see each other, not through assumptions, not through expectations, but through reality. And reality is always simpler than the mind makes it. But it requires one thing from you. Stillness. Not reacting too quickly, not trying to fill the gaps, not forcing clarity before it naturally arrives. Because the moment you rush, you break the space where truth feels safe. And right now, that space is forming. You are becoming someone who can hold silence without fear, who can sense truth without needing immediate answers, who can stay grounded even when things feel uncertain. That is rare. And that is exactly why this moment found you. Stay here, just a little longer. Because the next phase is not about guessing, it's about witnessing. Watching how things unfold, noticing how her energy begins to shift, how the weight she's been carrying starts to loosen, how her words slowly begin to match what she's been feeling inside. And when that happens, you won't need confirmation. You will feel it. A quiet clarity, a sense of knowing, a realization that everything you sensed, everything you felt, was leading you here. Not to fix anything. Not to change her. But to understand, without resistance. And that understanding, it transforms everything. Because once truth is seen without fear, connection no longer feels uncertain, it feels real. And this is the moment most people miss. They look for loud answers, dramatic signs, clear explanations. But the real shift happens in silence. So don't look away now. Because what you've been sensing, what you've been slowly becoming aware of, is no longer hidden. It's simply waiting, for you to fully see it. And just when it feels like everything has settled, something deeper begins to rise, not outside of you, but within you, like a quiet realization that refuses to be ignored any longer. This is the moment most people never reach. Because now, it's no longer about her silence. It's about what her silence awakened inside you. Look closely. You are no longer reacting the way you used to. The uncertainty that once made you restless, now feels different. Slower. More meaningful. Almost as if you've stepped into a space where you don't need immediate answers to feel connected. That change is everything. Because while she was carrying something hidden, you were becoming someone capable of understanding without needing it to be explained. And here's where the truth unfolds completely. What she is going through was never meant to push you away. It was meant to reveal who stays steady when things are unclear. And you stayed. Not by chasing, not by forcing conversations, but by holding a quiet awareness that most people would have walked away from. That's rare. But listen carefully. She feels it. Even if she hasn't said a word, even if her actions still seem guarded, she can feel that you are not reacting like others would. And that alone is beginning to shift something inside her. Because when someone realizes they don't have to hide to be accepted, they slowly stop hiding. And this is where everything begins to open. Not all at once, not in a way that overwhelms you, but in small, meaningful moments. A deeper conversation. A more honest expression. A moment where her words carry a truth that was never spoken before. And when that moment arrives, you will understand why everything had to unfold this way. Because if it had come too early, you wouldn't have seen it clearly. If it had come too suddenly, you wouldn't have been ready to receive it without reacting. But now, you are different. More aware. More grounded. More capable of holding truth without turning it into fear. Stay with this feeling, just a little longer. Because what's about to happen next is subtle, but powerful. A shift where connection stops feeling uncertain, and starts feeling real. Where the distance that once confused you, begins to make sense. Where her silence, no longer feels like something to decode, but something you already understand. And this is where most people finally realize something they never expected. The connection was never breaking. It was transforming. Quietly. Deeply. In a way that could only be seen by someone who didn't give up when things became unclear. So don't rush away from this moment. Because you've reached a point that many never do. A place where understanding replaces confusion, where patience reveals truth, where presence becomes stronger than words. And if you've made it this far, if you can feel this shift inside you, then you already know this isn't something ordinary. It's something rare. Something real. And if this message found you at the exact moment you needed it, you can stay connected to this space, share what you felt, leave a thought, or simply stay a little longer with this awareness, because sometimes, just being present in a moment like this, is what allows everything else to finally make sense. Because the truth you were waiting for was never far away. It was simply waiting for you to be ready to see it. And just when it feels like you've understood everything, something even quieter begins to unfold, almost like a final layer revealing itself beneath everything you've already seen. This is where the story turns inward. Because now, it's no longer about what she is hiding, or when she will finally express it. It's about what this entire experience has been shaping inside you. Look back for a moment. Not at her actions, but at your own transformation. The way you've learned to sit with uncertainty without breaking it, the way you've started noticing energy instead of just words, the way your awareness has expanded beyond what is visible. That didn't happen by chance. It happened because this connection was never just about two people. It was about awakening a deeper level of perception within you. And here's the truth that changes everything. Sometimes, a person doesn't enter your life to give you answers. They enter to awaken your ability to see beyond them. And that's exactly what's happening here. Because now, whether she speaks or not, whether she reveals everything or only a part of it, you are no longer dependent on the outcome to feel grounded. You've stepped into something stronger than clarity. You've stepped into understanding. Pause here for a second. Can you feel the difference? The urgency that once pushed you to figure things out, it's fading. In its place, there's a calm awareness. A quiet confidence that whatever needs to unfold, will unfold at the right moment. And that shift. That's where your power is. Because the moment you stop chasing the truth begins moving toward you. And this is the stage she is slowly entering as well. The weight she's been carrying, it's no longer something she can completely contain. Not because she is weak, but because something inside her is ready to be seen. Not by everyone. But by someone who won't react with fear. By someone who won't turn her vulnerability into distance. By someone who can hold space, without trying to control the outcome. And you already know who that someone is. But don't expect a dramatic moment. Don't expect a perfect conversation where everything becomes clear instantly. That's not how real truth reveals itself. It comes in fragments, in honest sentences, in moments where you suddenly realize she's no longer hiding the way she used to. And when that happens, you won't feel shocked. You'll feel recognition. As if everything you sensed before was simply waiting for confirmation. Stay present, just a little longer. Because you're entering the phase where things don't need to be explained to be understood. Where connection doesn't need constant reassurance to feel real. And this is where most people finally see what was hidden all along. Not in her words. Not in her actions. But in the space between everything. The unspoken truth that was always there, quietly guiding both of you toward this moment of clarity. So don't rush ahead. Because the final shift is not about discovering something new. It's about fully realizing what you already knew, deep down, before it ever became visible. And when that realization settles completely, you will understand why none of this was ever random. And now, stay here with me for one final moment, because what you're about to feel isn't new information, it's a quiet recognition of something that has been true all along. This is the part where everything stops moving outward, and settles within you. No more searching. No more trying to piece things together. Just a still awareness, where the answers no longer need to arrive, because you've already reached them. Look at how far this has brought you. What began as confusion, a subtle distance, an unspoken tension, has transformed into clarity. Not the loud kind, not the kind that demands explanation, but a deep, grounded knowing. And that knowing changes everything. Because now, whether she speaks tomorrow, or takes her time, whether her truth comes in full, or in pieces, you are no longer waiting in uncertainty. You are standing in understanding. Pause for a second. Feel that shift. There is no pressure in you anymore, no urgency to force a moment, no need to rush toward answers. And in that stillness, something powerful happens. You become safe. Safe for truth. Safe for honesty. Safe for something real to finally emerge, without fear of being misunderstood. And this is what she has been moving toward all along. Not a perfect moment. Not a dramatic reveal. But a space where she can finally let go of what she's been holding, without feeling like she will lose connection in the process. And when that moment comes,